one of the most wonderful buildings from the ancient world. It's a demonstration of power, a demonstration of spirituality, a demonstration of science.
AI just scanned the pyramids of Mexico. What it found inside is terrifying. December 2024. A research facility in Mexico City. Dr. Veronica Ortega stares at the thermal imaging data from beneath the Pyramid of the Moon. The scan has been running for 48 hours, mapping what lies in the sealed chamber 15 meters below the surface. Then, something appears on the screen that makes her freeze. Heat signatures, coming from a chamber that's been sealed for over 1,500 years. She runs the scan again. Same result. A chamber with no ventilation, no light, no access to the outside world since the day it was sealed in 500 CE. And it's generating heat. Her colleague suggests equipment malfunction. They recalibrate, run it a third time. The heat is still there. But that's not what terrifies her. When the AI cross-analyzes the thermal patterns, it detects something else. Organization, structure, movement patterns that don't match geological activity. And this isn't the only chamber. 2 more sealed chambers. One beneath the pyramid at Chichen Itza, another at Palenque, both showing the same impossible readings. Then the AI makes a discovery that changes everything. The 3 chambers form a perfect triangle across Mexico. The exact same configuration is described in ancient Maya texts as the boundary markers between our world and Xibalba, the Underworld. What the AI found in 2024 doesn't just rewrite history. It reveals that the Maya weren't building monuments to the gods. They were building prisons, and something inside might still be alive. The pyramids of Mexico are among the most visited ancient sites on Earth. Teotihuacan's Pyramid of the Sun, the 3rd largest pyramid in the world, built by a civilization so mysterious we don't even know what they called themselves. Chichen Itza's El Castillo, a Maya masterpiece that draws millions of tourists every year. Palenque's Temple of Inscriptions, home to one of the most elaborate royal tombs ever discovered. But here's what makes them different from Egypt's pyramids. These weren't built as tombs. Not officially. They were temples, places of worship, structures designed to connect the earthly world with the divine. At least, that's what we've been told. There's something else that sets them apart. Something disturbing. Almost every major pyramid in Mexico is built directly over a natural cave system, over cenotes, underground rivers, sinkholes that drop into darkness. From an engineering perspective, this makes no sense. Building on top of hollow ground is dangerous, unstable. The entire structure could collapse into the earth. The ancient builders knew this. They were sophisticated engineers. They understood geology. So why would they deliberately choose the most dangerous locations to build their most important structures? Unless stability wasn't the point. Unless they wanted to build over these underground spaces. The Maya believed cenotes were sacred, not because they provided water, though they did, but because they were something else. Portals, gateways, entrances to Xibalba, the place of fear, the realm of death gods. And when you build a pyramid over a portal to hell, you're not building a temple. Pause. You're building a seal. But what were they trying to keep locked away? And what happens if that seal breaks? The AI scans revealed something the Maya never wanted us to discover. To understand what the AI discovered, you need to understand what the Maya believed about death. Xibalba, the underworld. Not a metaphor, not a symbolic concept. A real place that existed beneath the surface of the earth. According to Maya cosmology, Xibalba had 9 levels, each one ruled by different death gods. Hun came and Vukub came, the lords of the dead. The Popol Vuh, the Maya sacred text, describes Xibalba in detail. Rivers of blood and pus, houses of jaguars and bats, chambers where souls were tested and tortured. But here's what's disturbing. The descriptions aren't vague. They're architectural, specific, measurements, directions, chamber configurations, like blueprints. And the cenotes, the natural sinkholes that dot the Yucatan Peninsula, these weren't just water sources. They were the entrances, physical doorways between the world of the living and the realm of the dead. The Maya didn't worship at these cenotes. They feared them, and they fed them. Human sacrifice in ancient Mexico wasn't random violence. It was central to their entire worldview. Estimates suggest 20,000 people were sacrificed annually across the Maya and Aztec civilizations. 20,000 every single year. Hearts cut out while the victim was still alive. The body thrown down the pyramid steps. The skull added to the tzompantli. Skull racks. Archaeologists found one containing over 650 skulls. But not all sacrifices were thrown from pyramids. Some were thrown into cenotes, into the portals themselves. Archaeologists have recovered thousands of human bones from these underwater caves. Men, women, children, all offered to the death gods below. Why? Because the Maya believed something that terrified them. If they didn't feed the gods, the world would end. The sun wouldn't rise. The crops would fail. The boundary between the living and the dead would collapse. And that's where the pyramids come in. They weren't just built near cenotes. They were built over them, positioned precisely to cover the openings, like caps on bottles, lids on containers. The pyramids weren't monuments. They were seals, designed to keep the portals closed, to prevent something from coming through. And certain people were chosen to guard these seals, not in life, in death. Companion burials. Servants and warriors buried alongside rulers. The official story says they were meant to serve in the afterlife, but the evidence suggests something darker. These people weren't just buried. They were sealed inside chambers while they were still breathing, drugged, positioned, entombed alive to stand watch. Forever. Because the Maya believed the boundary between worlds was fragile, that it needed constant protection. And the AI scans suggest they weren't wrong. Something was down there. Something that required guards. Something that needed to be contained. And after 1,500 years, it might still be there. What we found when we started digging. For centuries, the pyramids stood silent, covered in jungle, hidden beneath vegetation and time. Then we started excavating, and what we found confirmed the Maya's darkest beliefs. 1971, Teotihuacan. Archaeologists discovered a tunnel beneath the Pyramid of the Feathered Serpent. They thought it might lead to a burial chamber, something ceremonial. Instead, they found a mass grave, over 200 bodies, hands bound behind their backs, decapitated, arranged in specific geometric patterns that matched no known burial practice. These weren't honored dead, these were sacrifices. But the positioning suggested something else. The bodies faced inward, toward the center of the chamber, like they were watching something, or guarding against something trying to get out. 1978, Mexico City. Workers digging beneath the modern city discovered the foundations of Templo Mayor, the great Aztec pyramid that once stood at the heart of their empire. Excavations have continued for over 40 years, and every year they find more bodies. In 2015, archaeologists uncovered a tzompantli, a skull tower, 650 skulls stacked in precise rows. Men, women, children, even infants. But here's what disturbed the excavation team. Ground-penetrating radar suggested there were more towers, deeper, buried beneath layers the team hadn't reached yet. How many skulls in total? Thousands? Tens of thousands? They stopped counting. 2015. Chichen Itza. Cave divers began mapping the underwater cenote systems beneath the pyramid. What they found was staggering. Not just one cenote, an entire network, interconnected chambers stretching for miles beneath the surface. And everywhere they explored, they found human remains, bodies positioned in underwater caves, some with stone weights tied to their feet, others with jade placed in their mouths, sent down as messengers or guards. But traditional excavation methods had limits. You can dig down, you can explore caves, but you can't see through solid stone. You can't detect sealed chambers that were designed never to be found. The pyramids kept their deepest secrets hidden until 2024. That's when everything changed. Researchers deployed new technology, muon tomography. The same technique was used to scan the Egyptian pyramids. Cosmic rays that can penetrate rock and reveal what's inside. But this time, they added something new. Artificial intelligence, AI that could analyze the data faster than any human, detects patterns invisible to the naked eye, cross-reference findings across multiple sites simultaneously. And in January 2024, the AI made its first discovery, a chamber beneath the Pyramid of the Moon at Teotihuacan, 15 meters across, 8 meters below the surface, completely sealed, no entrance, no exit. A chamber that had been hidden for over 1,500 years. The team celebrated. This was the kind of discovery that makes careers. The chance to see something no human had seen since ancient times. They set up equipment, prepared for excavation, and then the thermal imaging came back. Heat signatures from inside the sealed chamber. That's when the celebration stopped. Because sealed chambers don't generate heat. Stone doesn't create warmth. And nothing living could survive 15 centuries without air, water, or light. So what was creating the heat? The team ran more scans, checked the equipment. The readings didn't change. And then the AI detected the second chamber, and the third, all showing the same impossible results. Something was in those chambers, something that had been sealed away for over a millennium, and it wasn't dead. The AI scans revealed 3 chambers, 3 pyramids, 3 secrets that had remained hidden for over 1,000 years, and each one was more disturbing than the last. January 2024. The muon tomography scan completes its 48th hour of continuous data collection. The chamber appears on the screen, 15 meters in diameter, 8 meters beneath the platform where the Maya performed their most sacred rituals and their most brutal sacrifices. Previous excavations in 2004 had found bodies near this location, bound, decapitated, buried in positions that suggested terror. But this chamber was different. It sat directly beneath the sacrifice platform, as if positioned to catch something, to receive something. The AI began analyzing the chamber's interior structure, and that's when the team noticed the patterns, geometric designs on the walls, detected through muon particle imaging, shapes and configurations that matched descriptions from the Popol Vuh ice. The 9 levels of Xibalba, the architecture of the Underworld. This wasn't decorative art. These were blueprints, instructions. The thermal imaging revealed the next impossible detail. Heat. Not residual warmth from the sun. Not geological activity. Organized heat patterns, concentrated in specific areas of the chamber. Areas where the AI detected organic matter. Organic compounds shouldn't exist after 1,500 years. Not in a sealed stone chamber. Everything should have decomposed, turned to dust. But ground-penetrating radar confirmed it. Preserved tissue, possibly hair. Some samples suggested protein structures consistent with human remains. The mercury explained part of it. Cinnabar, mercury sulfide. The same compound was found in Emperor Qin Shi Huang's tomb in China, known to preserve organic material indefinitely. But it didn't explain the heat. Dead tissue doesn't generate warmth. The chamber's construction revealed another disturbing detail. It wasn't just sealed from the outside. Stone blocks weighing over 20 tons each, positioned to make the chamber completely inaccessible. It was sealed from both sides like a cage or a prison. The AI analyzed the positioning of the organic remains inside, not laid out ceremonially, not arranged for burial. Defensive positions, bodies pressed against walls, some facing the center of the chamber, others facing outward toward where the entrance would have been. Pause, like they were trying to keep something contained, or trying to escape. Dr. Ortega submitted a request to excavate, to physically open the chamber. The request was denied. Officially, the reason was structural instability. Opening the chamber could compromise the pyramid's foundation, cause a collapse. Unofficially, team members reported other concerns. Unexplained equipment malfunctions near the site, recording devices picking up sounds they couldn't identify, and 3 excavation workers requesting immediate transfer off the project. The chamber remains sealed, but the AI had already detected the second location. November 2024. Underwater sonar mapping of the cenote systems beneath El Castillo Pyramid. What the AI revealed made the structural engineers panic. Pause. The entire pyramid sits on a honeycomb of voids, not solid bedrock, not a stable foundation, a massive cenote system, underground caves, water-filled chambers that extend hundreds of meters in every direction. The pyramid could collapse into the earth at any moment, but here's what terrified the team. The Maya knew this. Geological surveys proved the cenote existed before the pyramid was built. The ancient engineers would have detected the hollow ground. They had the technology, the knowledge. They built the pyramid here anyway, deliberately, intentionally. The pyramid wasn't placed over the cenote by accident. It was positioned precisely to cover the main opening, the largest access point to the underwater cave system. The Maya believed this cenote was a gateway, a portal to Xibalba, and they built a pyramid to seal it shut. Cave divers had explored parts of the cenote in previous expeditions. They'd found human remains, thousands of bones scattered across the cave floor, sacrifice victims thrown into the portal to feed the gods below. But the AI detected something the divers had missed. The bones weren't randomly scattered. They were arranged, organized into geometric patterns that mirrored the pyramid structure above. Specific placements, deliberate configurations. As above, so below. The water current patterns showed another anomaly, movement that didn't match natural flow. The cenote should have stable currents, predictable circulation. Instead, the AI detected irregular patterns, organized movement, like something was disturbing the water, shifting, moving. Diving expeditions were suspended immediately. The Mexican government cited safety concerns, structural instability, the risk of the pyramid collapsing into the cenote. But the real reason was what the AI predicted would happen if excavations continued. Opening the cenote fully, removing the pyramid's weight, disturbing the seal that had held for over 1,000 years. The model suggested catastrophic structural failure, but it suggested something else too, something the team refused to put in the official report. 2023. Cosmic ray muon detection scans the Temple of Inscriptions, the tomb of Janab Pakal, one of the greatest Maya rulers, buried in 683 CE in one of the most elaborate crypts ever discovered. But the muon scan revealed something no one expected. 2 chambers, adjacent to Pakal's tomb, hidden behind stone walls, completely sealed, and the sealing mechanism was on the inside, not locked from the outside to protect treasure, not sealed after construction to preserve a burial, locked from within, like whoever was inside had sealed themselves in, or had been sealed in by someone else, someone who didn't want them getting out. The AI processed the muon imaging data, enhanced the resolution, reconstructed a 3-dimensional model of the chamber's interior. Multiple shapes, human-sized, positioned upright against the walls, not lying down in a burial position, standing or sitting, alert. The hieroglyphs on the chamber walls were partially visible through the muon scan. The AI enhanced the images, processed the symbols. The translation came back. They wait, they watch, they guard the threshold. Not buried servants, not honored companions, guards, sentinels, and they were still at their posts. The cinnabar concentrations in these chambers exceeded anything found at the other sites. Mercury vapor is thick enough to preserve organic tissue indefinitely. The AI compared scans taken 6 months apart. The positions of the shapes had changed, slightly, microscopically, but measurably. The research team debated the findings: stone settling, natural geological shifts, measurement error, but the AI's confidence level remained at 97%. Something in those chambers had moved. Dr. Arnoldo Gonzalez Cruz, lead archaeologist at Palenque, submitted excavation proposals, argued that the chambers could contain untold historical treasures, evidence of royal succession, religious texts. Every proposal was rejected. The chambers remain sealed. No excavation permits granted. No further scans authorized. The official reason: preservation of cultural heritage and respect for indigenous burial practices. The real reason? No one wants to be the person who opens that door. No one wants to be responsible for what might come out. Because when the AI cross-analyzed all 3 sites together, It discovered why these chambers must never be opened. The AI didn't just scan individual pyramids. It analyzed them together, cross-referenced the data, searched for connections, and it found something that changed everything. The technology itself was revolutionary. Muon tomography. Cosmic rays that rain down on Earth constantly. Particles that pass through solid stone like light through glass. By measuring how these particles scatter, the AI could map what's inside structures without ever breaking the surface. But muon scans generate massive amounts of data, thousands of measurements per second, patterns buried in numbers that would take humans years to analyze. The AI processed it in hours, and it saw what we couldn't. All three chambers shared identical design features. No entrances, no passages, no doorways of any kind. They weren't built to be accessed, not by future generations, not by tomb robbers, not by anyone. These weren't tombs where you place a body and seal the door. These were chambers where you place something inside and make absolutely certain it can never get out. The walls were 3 times thicker than necessary for structural support, reinforced with techniques that served no architectural purpose, unless the purpose was containment, tissue preservation in conditions that shouldn't allow it, hair protein structures, biological binding agents mixed into the paint and plaster. The mercury explained how it was preserved, but it didn't explain why. Why go to such extreme lengths to preserve organic material in chambers no one was ever meant to open, unless preservation wasn't the goal? Unless they were trying to keep something alive. The body positions inside all 3 chambers told the same story. Not a peaceful burial, not honored rest. Alert positions, defensive stances, some facing inward toward the center of the chambers, others facing outward toward the sealed walls. Like sentries, guards posted at their stations. The AI analyzed the skeletal positioning in detail. These people hadn't been arranged after death. They'd been positioned while alive, then sealed in. Companion burials, the practice of entombing living people alongside rulers. But the positions suggested they weren't just companions. They were guards, posted to watch, to wait, to make sure something stayed contained, or to make sure something didn't get in. And then the AI made the discovery that stopped all excavation work. It plotted the geographic coordinates of all 3 chambers: Teotihuacan, Chichen, Itza, Palenque, 3 points, hundreds of miles apart, built by different cultures over centuries. They form a perfect equilateral triangle across the heart of Mexico. The mathematical precision is impossible to dismiss as coincidence. The angles are exact. The distances are proportional. The AI cross-referenced this configuration with the Popol Vuh Chopam, the Maya sacred text, and found an exact match. The 3 hearthstones of creation. According to Maya cosmology, 3 cosmic stones hold up the sky. They mark the corners of the world, the boundary between the realm of the living and Xibalba, the Underworld. The AI ran predictive models, simulations of what would happen if the chambers were opened. If one chamber was breached, the model suggested localized structural collapse, dangerous but contained. If 2 chambers were opened simultaneously, the prediction showed cascading geological instability across the region. But if all 3 chambers were opened at the same time, the model couldn't complete the calculation. The geometric formation would be compromised. The triangle is broken. And according to Maya belief, breaking the 3 hearthstones means one thing. Pause. The boundary collapses. The barrier between worlds falls. The thermal imaging data revealed one last disturbing detail. The heat signatures in all 3 chambers pulse, not constantly, not randomly. In rhythm, every chamber, every site, the same pattern, the same frequency, like a heartbeat. The AI detected this pattern across multiple scans over 6 months, confirmed by independent teams, verified by different equipment. Something in those sealed chambers is generating organized, rhythmic heat patterns. After 1,500 years, something is still functioning. And when the Mexican government saw this data, they made a decision that's never been publicly announced. All 3 sites were quietly reclassified. New excavation permits are indefinitely suspended. research teams reassigned, and a permanent monitoring system installed at each location, watching, measuring, making sure nothing changes, making sure nothing gets out. Because the Maya spent centuries building those chambers, sacrificing thousands of lives to maintain them, sealing people alive inside to guard them, they believed they were containing something, holding back something that could never be allowed to escape. And in 2024, the AI suggested they might have been right. The chambers aren't tombs. They aren't storage. They aren't symbolic monuments to ancient beliefs. Pause. They're anchors. 3 points, 3 chambers, 3 seals holding something in place. The organic matter inside isn't decorative. Mercury isn't just preservative. The people sealed inside weren't honored servants. They were placed there for a specific purpose: to maintain the boundary, to guard the threshold, to make absolutely certain that whatever the Maya trapped beneath those pyramids could never escape. And the triangle formation proves it wasn't random. 3 pyramids built across centuries by different civilizations, all positioned with mathematical precision, all containing sealed chambers with the exact same design, the same containment architecture, the 3 hearthstones, the boundary markers between our world and Xibalba. Not mythology, engineering. In early 2025, the Mexican government issued a quiet directive. All 3 sites are designated as culturally sensitive archaeological zones. New excavation permits suspended indefinitely. The official statement cited preservation concerns, protection of indigenous heritage, but internal documents tell a different story. The AI detected something in those chambers that contradicts everything we know about physics, biology, death itself, heat signatures that shouldn't exist, movement patterns in sealed stone boxes, rhythmic pulses that match no known geological phenomenon. The Maya spent 1,500 years maintaining these seals, feeding them with sacrifice, guarding them with the living and the dead. They believed something was down there, something that required constant vigilance, something that could never be allowed to break through. And we almost opened the doors. The chambers remain sealed. The pyramids still stand. The monitoring equipment records data 24 hours a day, watching for changes, watching for movement, watching for any sign that the boundary might be weakening. Because whatever the Maya trapped beneath those 3 pyramids, pause, is still there, still waiting, and the heartbeat hasn't stopped.